Hey guys, JW Studios, back again with more Yeti versus content. So we have our Yeti Tank 45, the ice bucket, the premium ice bucket. And what are we comparing against? The Igloo Cube. The Igloo Cube, very popular. I would say it's ubiquitous. It's one of the most popular coolers around. This was actually my dad's cooler. He had it for years and years and years, and I borrowed it and didn't give it back. And as you can see, it's a little bit bigger cooler than the Yeti. And so each of these has 32 pounds of ice in it. And right now I have the lids on them. I just filled these up at the local ice place. So we have $4 worth of ice in each of them. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to compare to see how well these retain ice with a few drinks in it. So that's what's the appeal of an ice bucket. It's you leave it the top open and you have the drinks cold and refreshing, kind of peeking out of the ice, ready to grab. So that's what's the appeal of ice buckets: aesthetic as well as functional. And so, you know, all our subscribers are out there clamoring for more content. So we really thank all our loyal subscribers, all the encouraging comments we've received. You know, this was really starting to explode, this channel. We just can just tell by our subscriber count, just amazing. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to pull these down, let the kids fill them up with a few drinks, and I'm going to load them back in the truck. Why am I loading back in the truck? Because we have a toddler, and we were using the Yeti tank to hold our water balloons the other day, and it had some water in the bottom, and he's just the right height. He kind of got high-waisted on the Yeti tank and toppled over into it, and we pulled him out. Me and my wife were both right there watching him, but if we weren't there, guess what? He would have drowned. He wouldn't have been able to get out. So it's very important whenever you're doing anything with these ice buckets to think about these things, think about the company that you have. You know, it's not something we initially thought about happening until we saw it, and there's only like 4 inches of water in the bottom of the bucket, but it would have been a bad situation if we weren't right there with him. So I want to load these back in the truck, and so they're going to stay in the garage in the back of the truck for the duration of the challenge. So this is around 8 p.m. It's going to be in the garage. It's going to be 75 degrees, probably all evening long. So let's get started and we'll get these things down and loaded. All right, the kids are loading these ice buckets. I'll give them a little help. Got some Gatorade and some delicious Dr. Pepper. As you can see, the tank is smaller. It is smaller than the 64 Igloo Cube. So if you're comparing these two things directly, the tank is smaller than the Cube, as you can see. The tank, you know, is a premium Yeti product. Very, very expensive comparatively, because this MSRP of the Cube is about $60, much cheaper. So what do we have? We got three and two. Okay, so it's 6 Diet Dr. Peppers and 2 Gators in there. They did a pretty good job bearing those. Let's put them in there a little bit more. Okay. So that's pretty good too. So it really would not be a fair test for the Cube if we left the tops on, okay? Because this Yeti lid can basically cover this in such a manner there's not any air, or not too much air above it, so air is bad for ice retention. So it wouldn't be a fair challenge for the Cube for us to put the lids on. One thing about this lid, you can sit on it. You're not supposed to sit on the Igloo Cube. And you can tell this Igloo Cube is supposed to be a wheeled cooler, but I broke the handle, so I had to take it off. So these handles on the Igloo Cubes are not too good. They pretty much always break. Yeah. So let's get these back loaded in the back of the truck, and we'll check on them in about 12 hours. Okay, we got them back loaded. As you can see, I just kind of popped the lid off the Yeti Cube, the Igloo Cube, and of course that's not on. One thing that differentiates the two, if you're comparing them, When I loaded these in the truck, filled with ice, and driving along, this one slid and slammed to the front of the cab, where of course the Yeti didn't move due to those rubber feet. All right, so we'll get back. We'll come back in about 12 hours and check on them and give you guys an update then. Thank you. Okay guys, back at JW Studios, and this is actually hour 15 of our Igloo Ice Cube versus our Yeti Tank Ice Bucket Challenge. So as you can see, still quite a bit of ice in the Igloo Ice Cube. We've been kind of drinking, oh, there's a little bit down there. So, pretty wet down there, but there's a lot of ice still. So, you know, that did a more than effective job for this, for real world use. All right, here's the Yeti Tank. I think there's more ice there. It's hard to tell for sure. Doesn't look to be as wet. The drinks are all ice cold. We've actually have drank some of the drinks and refilled it with both ice buckets. And so what we're going to do next is actually take them to the swimming pool and swim and use them for their real purpose and see how they do with some more direct sunlight. So we'll come back and check on them and probably at the 24-hour mark. Okay, we're back at JW Studios for our 24-hour update. As you can see, both the Yeti Tank and the Igloo Cube have quite a bit of ice still left. And so we use these. They got some sun exposure. My assistant's here is kind of moving the drinks back and forth. Yep. Quite a bit of ice. And here we go. Okay, that's a lot of ice too. I don't know. It's too hard to tell the difference. So we'll check back on these again in 12 hours and have a definitive winner. Okay, JW Studios back again. As you can see, there's still more than enough ice in the Yeti. I mean, that's still be, you can use that slushy ice water to keep your party going for another day if you needed to. And the same thing over here with the Igloo Cube. Maybe there's a little bit less ice, I don't know for sure. So we're at 36 hours and both are, I would say, doing excellent still for this purpose. And so we'll check back again in another 12 hours back with our 24-hour update. As you can see, the Igloo Cube has just a small amount of ice left at 48 hours. And here's the Yeti Tank. Quite a bit of ice left. You know, the Igloo Cube made it 48 hours with the top off with enough ice, and now it's cold water to keep the beverages cool. So that's really performed admirably for what is essentially just, you know, an ice chest with the top ripped off of it. The Yeti Tank, you know, however, it still has quite a bit more ice. So I'll come back and check on things in the morning, and it'll be our 60-hour update, which I think the Yeti Tank will still have some ice left. Of course, the Igloo Cube only has a couple more hours of ice left. So we'll check on things again in 12 hours. Hour 60 update. As you can see, there's no ice in either the Igloo Cube or the Yeti Tank. Let's do a quick subjective temperature check. That's pretty cold still. That'll be like some cool drinking water. And that's colder. So, interesting results. Essentially, the Igloo Cube performed admirably. It had ice up to 48 hours without its top on. The Yeti Tank, it probably had ice for at least 55 hours, if not longer. That's pretty cold, that water still. You know, as functioning as a drinking bucket, ice bucket, the Yeti Tank is probably more functional with the handles being what they are, the feet not slipping. It did have somewhat better ice retention, but the Igloo Cube did awesome, you know, for what it is, which is basically at this point it's a broken ice chest. It's an ice chest that had a handle and had a top, and now it doesn't. And we just filled it up with 32 pounds of ice, and it made it 48 hours. That's really, really good. So, you know, the Igloo Cube you can get off Amazon for less than $30 new. I mean, you know, this is a broken one. So how much is it? $10 at a garage sale? Not very expensive. Where the Igloo Cube is much more expensive. You know, however, the Igloo Cube looks designed for this purpose, where this one clearly isn't. It's just made to work. So aesthetically, if you're worried about how things look, the Yeti looks better. You know, it does you know, you can tell it is built better, probably for sustained heavy use for this purpose, moving around a lot. The Igloo Cube handles or maybe the sidewalls will probably start to give out where it's. I don't think that's going to happen on the Yeti. But overall, either product does a great job, but the Yeti does do a better job, but you know, it's orders of magnitude more expensive. So let me know in your comments what you guys think about these videos. I'd like to thank all those loyal subscribers with all their many comments. It really keeps a lot of energy going with the channel. It's a medical helicopter. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. And we'll see you again next time at JW Studios.